Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of Jash Reads. Today we are going to continue reading Megamorphs #1, The Andalite Skiff. And this chapter will be narrated by our fearless leader, Jake. I feel bad even going to this party, I said. Darlene should have invited Marco. He wouldn't have done the Baby Ruth thing again. He's much more mature now. Sort of. I feel a little guilty, too, Cassie said. She lowered her voice to a whisper and put her mouth close to my ear. But I seem to remember you saying we should all take the weekend off and be normal. So I am going to be normal. We were both in our swimsuits, sitting in those long pool chairs. You know, the ones you can adjust so you're lying down or sitting up. There were 40 or 50 kids around the pool. Darlene's family has money, I guess, because it's a very nice pool. There was a long table loaded up with chips and dip and cold cuts, and there were coolers full of iced soft drinks. There was decent rock music playing on the stereo. Some kids were dancing. It wasn't even noon yet, but the sun was already bright. It was going to be hot. That was for sure. I almost envied Rachel heading up to the mountains. It would probably be cooler up there. It feels weird to just sit around and relax, I said. As soon as the words were out of my mouth, I heard a blood-curdling scream. Yeah! Someone shrieked. Oh, 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 oh. Someone else cried. I sat straight up. Trouble. I could feel the familiar rush of adrenaline. I quickly looked around, checking for the ways to escape, the places where we could stand and fight, the places we might be able to hide for a quick morph. People were running. No, on a closer look, only a couple of girls were running. They were the ones screaming. That's Darlene, Cassie said. She sent me a puzzled, worried look. Oh, 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 get away from me! Darlene screamed. Get it away! Darlene ran straight towards us. She ran like the hounds of hell were right behind her. Help me! She screamed. It's after me! What is it? I yelled to no one in particular. Mice! The girl named Tracy yelled, Mice! Then I spotted them. 2 tiny, harmless little mice. 2 little mice chasing Darlene like a pair of lions trying to bring down a buffalo. Darlene dodged right. The mice went right after her. And then something very interesting happened. This guy named Hans yelled, Darlene, run this way, I'll stomp them. Darlene headed for Hans. Hans raised his foot up, ready to stomp the mice as they shot past. But suddenly the mice turned a sharp left, shot around behind Hans, and tore off after Darlene again. Right then, I knew. The mice had heard Hans's plan. They had dodged away to safety. Real mice don't chase people, Cassie said, giving me a meaningful look. No, they don't, I agreed. Marco, Cassie whispered. He must have dragged Axe into it too. I'll kill him, I said, just as soon as we save him. I raced around the pool. I tore through a mess of overturned chairs and soda cans and paper plates. Cassie went the other way. Help me! Help me! Darlene screamed, running toward the patio door. Hey! Cassie yelled as loudly as she could. It's just a couple of mice. Nothing to be afraid of. One of the mice hesitated. Marco had recognized Cassie's voice. You know, if those mice want to live, they should go to Cassie, I said, trying to sound like I was making a joke. Otherwise, someone might kill them. Then, under my breath, I added, someone like me. I heard that, Marco said to me in thought speak. I could hear his thought speak, but since I was not in a morph, I could not reply. Probably a good thing. I might have used some words I shouldn't use. It was total pandemonium. 40 kids running around like idiots, half running away from the mice, half running after the mice. Everyone making lots of noise. Come here, little mice, Cassie said loudly. We were trying to make Marco realize he had to head for Cassie. I knew he could hear us. Mice have excellent hearing. But Marco either didn't get it or had decided he wasn't done chasing Darlene. Ah! Darlene was not done screaming either. She reached her patio door. She was still screaming as she disappeared inside her house. Marco was after her like a shot with Axe right behind. Don't worry, I heard Marco say in thought speak a few seconds later. We're down in the basement. We're demorphing. Just make sure no one comes down to the basement looking for mice. Oh, man, I muttered. I ran for the patio door. Thump! I slammed hard into Hans, and both of us went rolling. No less than 8 other people slammed into us, one right after another. It was like some bad football game. All of us jumbled together, yelling and giggling and pushing and trying to untangle our legs and arms. As it turned out, the pileup saved my life. I sucked wind and tried to stand up, and the sky above us grew dark. It was so sudden and so complete that everyone just froze. I looked up. The sun was hidden behind a swirling cloud of dust, like a flat tornado, a tornado in a clear sky. I felt a terrible sensation of dread from deep down inside. The dust swarm grew solid. Within seconds, it assumed a shape. A shape like nothing ever seen on planet Earth. And then it struck. And that's the end of that lovely, lovely chapter. Yay! Oh, God. My glasses started moving way down my nose during that reading. I was like, yeah, yay, we want to be free. Freedom. So, yeah. I like it. Jake's like, oh, hey, I'm going to have a normal weekend. I'm going to hang out at this pool party, do normal teenager stuff that does not involve saving the world. And just as he grows comfy in this everything's going to be alright scenario, well, first thing that goes wrong is Marco and Axe. Marco's plan causes fucking chaos. Yay! It's just fucking great. It's like, whoo! And then, if that's not bad enough, because to Jake at this point, that is the worst fucking thing that could happen. It's like, I'm just trying to relax, and now my best friend fucks it all up. And then, and this dust cloud thingy-majiggy fucking attacks. It's like, oh great, this is not like great. Oh my god. Yeah, that's Jake is not having a very good day today. And if you're wondering about the cover I have for Megamorphs 1 for this dramatic reading, I was doing my best to try to imitate, dust, like the tornado dust thingy-majig that's a beast thingy-majig. And I spent a really long time on that background before I'm like, okay, fuck it, this is, I think, the best I'm going to be able to do. And so, yeah. And then, that's part of the reason for that background. So what did you think about this, not story, what did you think about this chapter? Did you pity Jake for, like, finally he's having some rest and relaxation, some shit goes wrong? So please comment down below. Let me know. Let's start a nice conversation, nice nerd conversations. And remember, no major spoilers. I am hoping, sort of, beyond hope that that, newcomers of the series will be attracted to the series because of these videos, that these videos will be the first part for some people to go, hey, this actually seems really interesting. I want to get into it, and suddenly become big fans of the series. So, major spoilers. Me, I can't speak English today, I guess. So that's why I don't want any major spoilers. However, if you do have this burning thing you want to talk to me about, and it involves spoilers for later on in the series, if you're watching this on the YouTube, link in the description to my Tumblr ask box, and just fucking go nuts about spoilers there, okay? I'll be happy to hear your theories. I'll be happy to answer any questions, whatever. And if you are a newbie to this series, hi, I'm Jashikins, and, this fandom doesn't have cookies. We have cinnamon buns. The greatest of all man's creation. Okay. And if have watched this dramatic reading, like, hey, I would love to get my very own copy of Megamorphs #1, The Andalite's Gift. If you are watching on the YouTubes, link in the description. If you are watching on my blog, I don't know why the fuck I said it like that. Then just look under the video and ta-da! And both links will take you to where you can buy your very own copy of Megamorphs #1, The Andalite's Gift. If you're also here on the YouTubes, please like this video for, because you believe Jake really deserved a break and got screwed over by his best friend Marco. And also, please subscribe, because guess what? I'm going to be reading the rest of this book, as well as reading the rest of the Animorphs books, except Alternamorphs, which we shall not speak of. If you're confused, like, oh, maybe I should check out Alternamorphs and won't be bad. No, just no, stay away. But yeah, besides those, I'm going to be reading all of the Animorphs books. So, subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome Animorphs content. Again, I don't know why I'm emphasizing certain words today. And if you're watching this on my Bloggity blog and watching on the desktop version of my Bloggity blog, please choose the follow by email option. And you will never again miss any content from me ever again. You won't miss a single post because you'll always be emailed whenever I have new content released. And being released on my blog, I believe tomorrow, will be my next long blog post that it had been released ahead of time on Patreon for my patrons. Then yesterday, it was released, for all my patrons. And tomorrow it will be released on my Bloggity blog. So yeah, if you do go to my Patreon, one of the perks is that, well, you get to view these long blog posts ahead of time. So, yay! Let's see. What else? Oh yeah, Twitter. I am Jashikins on Twitter, and if you're watching on my not Bloggity blog, if you're watching on the YouTube's link in the description to my Twitter profile. And on Twitter, I will give updates about certain things, about certain projects. If I hit a snag, funny things while writing or editing or researching, it will be there. And I did make a slight update about the whole podcast thingy-majig. It was small. I mean, it was Twitter. I'm trying to turn Jash Reads into a podcast, and we're having trouble finding a place, and we've hit another little snag. And Revs, he can work for a certain little bit on the computer, then he gets stressed, so he basically went to the most he could be on the computer last night, and we figured some stuff out, and we figured some stuff out, and ta-da. So if you do podcast yourself, please comment below so you can help give us tips. It'd be very useful. I'm going to ask some other people to hopefully get some answers. So yeah. And the next episode of Jash Reads will be more of Megamorphs #1, The Andalite's Gift, and should be released in a few short hours. Yay! And now it comes to the part of the episode that if you just want to relax a little bit more, avoid work a little bit more and just say, oh yeah, I have to watch some more of the video because of very important parts coming up. This part's for you. And if you would like to, drink some beverage, alcohol, or otherwise, I can't drink any more alcohol. I drank a little bit of beer and wine the past 2 days, and yeah, my acid reflux was not liking even that a little bit. And of course, I ate some jalapenos because fuck it. I mean, they're good jalapenos. I couldn't help myself. Live. Now, for what is this part to people who haven't, stayed to this portion? This is the part of the video which I guess sort of like a bonus segment where I slowly work on a graphic. I work on little bits and pieces over various episodes, so I'm able to make more graphics than I otherwise would have. Plus, I don't take up too much of your time, unless that is sometimes the case where one part ends up taking way longer than I planned. So let's hope for the best. So here, we're making a cover for my fanfic, The Pull of Fate, which is the first part of my fanfic series, Consequences of Ice and Fire, which in turn is a sequel series to my fanfic series, The Rin Duology. So yeah. So The Pull of Fate, what basically happens is Rin and her version of Jorah have been traveling the multiverse for what would amount to hundreds of years. And so that after going to being in one situation she hadn't planned to be in, they escaped to Westeros, and it's, not the Westeros they grew up in. It's to them, it's a new version of Westeros, and so they're sort of debating, whether they should stay or leave. And so since it's coming together again, I'm thinking of Rin Rin and her Jorah being in one portion, and then like Jorah, Dany, and Jon being on the other, since well, Jorah's of course going to be both, from both universes, and then well, those three are the main players. They're all the main players, plus the other Jorah, Dany, and Jon were also people that existed in Rin's, universe, reality. So yeah, it's I guess this is one of the things where it's sort of, it makes sense if you've read the fic, but it's one of those things where it's hard to explain. And I don't promote, making like you taking your fanfic, just making original enough to be legal and, survive publication, because, that's someone's, you're sort of betraying the fandom in a sense. And you're betraying the fandom in a sense, and plus it's like fanfic's okay because you don't make money, but when you make money off a fanfic like that, it just seems a little disingenuous, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But with the Rin duology, and maybe not Consequences of Ice and Fire, because that does involve a lot of, it's eventually going to involve a lot of Friends' original characters. And I get it's sort of nice when people trust me that way, but it's also really fucking scary. And I'm looking for something I believe I still have on my pictures folder, so that's what I'm doing. But at least for the Rin duology, while I try to integrate, the original elements into the fanfic, I still feel that Rin and all the original elements really stick out like a sore thumb. And so just for the sake of making a story where Rin really fits in, I might in the future do an original version of the Rin duology called something else, of course. But I'll be changing a lot just so some themes I want to go for actually fit in, so Rin's powers don't stand out. Like, she just really stands out. I try to integrate them, but there's really only so much you can do. And ta-da, here is Rin, folks. Actually, I was thinking side to side, but yeah. Let's see, let's adjust her head movements here. Oh yeah, it does. Okay, that fucks everything up. That really does. It looks great. Now I don't want to add any other characters there. Yeah, I think, yeah, this is definitely a good hide-in position. And it does bring the focus back on Rin. I mean, Rin's really the central character all around. And yeah. It just, Rin's eyes are green, and I always make a point of that. Yeah, but I think this is good. And I think maybe not having doubles of every one, but the other major players of Jorah, Dany, and Jon. So yeah, instead of doing duplicate Jorah. Because Original, this is what happens when I make something, sometimes thing changes. But the thing is having like original plan of like one reality is lined up on one side, another reality is lined up on this side. That makes it so having duplicates makes sense, but now it really doesn't. And of course, I'm going to go into blending mode even though I don't have to. It makes more sense. Oh my god, that looks great. Okay. Ta-da! That looks good. That actually looks good there. You can see her, you see her there, but at the same, and I don't know, it has a nice creepy flow to it, I guess. This nice little creepiness of, I guess, trying to merge. Let's try to see if, even though it's cool, let's make sure that there's some thematic importance to this decision to not just, oh, it looks cool. But also this, she's going, as I said before, she's going to this version of Westeros and she's having to decide whether or not to integrate herself into it. And so this blending in could be a sign of integration. You know, if I'm using words correctly, ta-da. Shit, now I actually don't want any other characters there because I feel that they would just take up too much room. Because right now it's good amount of stuff going on there. And I've managed to, keep, the map visible while also showing one character. So yeah, I think this is going to be it. Yeah, next time we're going to be, uh, let's see. Yeah, I think this is good just because it's nice and concise. I think anything else would just be too much. So yeah, next time we're just going to work on the words and then it will be released. Yay! So again, for all those who stayed this long, there will be sorry, there were words coming out of my mouth and then nothing happened. Wow, that never happens. So next episode of Jash Reads will be more of Megamorphs #1, The Andalite's Gift. So keep tuned.